And good morning and welcome back to my second devlog now for my new video game, my Liege, that I've been working on. This is earlier than I expected to do a second version, but I'm going to be out for the next couple of weekends doing some light traveling, so I'm not sure how much progress I'll make on the game over the next couple of weeks here, so I wanted to get a quick update in, and also was just kind of getting a little excited maybe, but really I felt like the first video kind of got our feet wet, but I didn't really start showing what I was picturing the gameplay loop looking like, and I have a little bit more of that set up, so I wanted to touch on that. So try to keep it a little bit short. Couple of things quick. I have the UI scaling cranked up to make this a little bit more legible for a YouTube video. I think one downside of that though is like when I look at the game, at least on like the previews, this is a little bit pixelated. This is not what the game typically looks like when you scale the UI scaling just for the Unity editor so that these things can be a little bit bigger. It also makes it so you have to have the game zoomed in to 2x or scaled to 2x. And so I think that's where some of the pixelation's coming in. If you notice that, that ain't me. It looks better, I swear. If you didn't notice that, well then ignore it and just continue thinking it looks nice. Great, but yeah, so today I'm going to highlight some of the I've been putting in over the last 5 days the framework and some rough menus for what you're going to be actually doing in the game, hopefully. Like I said, I want this to be kind of like a city manager, but not where you're micromanaging, where you're getting dealt maybe big or small events that are happening, and you're making decisions and choices as best as you can and dealing with the consequences or seeing just how effective those choices are. So for example, right now, before we had a fair number, I think I had this menu up here that kind of just give you a high level how many people are assigned to each job, where like you're being a guard or you're being a merchant or you're being out here in the farm. But I don't think I had this down here. So this is kind of, I guess, two things for inspiration quick if I reference something that y'all haven't seen before. The idea of like this kind of menu here where I'm just kind of having a random floating square menu that gives you details about what's happening. If you've never played Banished, it's another kind of city simulator, but it's much more micromanagey. And now the screenshot I'm going to show you is definitely a little over the top, but this is what their game looks like. And so this is with too many menus open at once. Usually while you're playing you only have a couple, but it kind of illustrates what I'm kind of picturing doing, where I have these optional menus that you can open and close that pull back the curtain a little bit and provide you with information about your town or your noble family or what your region is up to. So that's kind of where I got that inspiration. And then as far as what you're going to see going on in the bottom right here of the game is kind of borrowing a little bit from the Civ 6 or Sid Meier's Civilization games, where that's what we have here. Oh no, my face is blocking it. Let's see, let's pan it? Nope, face is still blocking it. Let's move me then. Okay. We'll put me back in a second, but what they do is they have in the bottom right the next turn button, and they are always telling you that something needs to happen still before you go to your next turn, and they build up this kind of vertical list here of notifications about what has come to light since your last turn that you should address. And so I kind of like that gameplay a lot personally, especially if you're going to do a turn-based, but you're managing a lot of moving parts. So that's what I'm borrowing from right now. Put me back. Okay. And just, will I stick with these? Who knows? Already I'm not super thrilled by the notifications popping up over here kind of thing. But I really am trying to be very flexible on this. So going with it now, if I come up with something different or interesting, might try it out. Might have you guys try it out. We'll see. How does this actually play out then? So this is like the first turn. I might have events that pop up and just describe, hey, this is your first turn on the first scenario. Maybe I have a tutorial message, or maybe I just have a message that kind of lays out the ground of like who your noble family is. Give you a little bit of background to get you invested right away. I'm going to give you a button so like if you need to close and go look at things you can, but for the most part you'll just confirm it and it'll go away. And then you'd go on to the next week. Probably some animation that goes in there to make it a little bit smoother transition, but sorry, I'm still getting through my morning coffee here. But then, you know, you would check out, okay, on this new week or this new turn, who has matters for me to attend? And maybe that'll be displayed on the right here, or maybe I'll have like a morning, like a beginning of week briefing where your advisors lay out the tasks that need to be attended to this week. But so this is just kind of an actual example where, you know, we've got this shaman that's claiming winter's arriving soon and the farmers are getting a little panicky that they're not going to get the crops in time. So if you're ready to make a choice here, we can review our options. And what I'm kind of picturing here is you're going to have your options, and then on the right, giving you some imperfect information about what the outcome of that choice would be. On the back end, it's going to be pretty exact, or maybe with a little bit of wiggle room of how effective it's going to be. But on the back end, I'm going to know that, like, sending some of your house guard to help the fields, you're going to reassign 2 guards to be farmers. So you'll have 42 farmers and 8 guards. I know that's what'll happen, but I don't want this to be a game where it's that clear what the good and bad choices are, or even if this is a good or bad choice. You know, objectively speaking, do you need more guards or do you need more merchants right now? That's for you to decide. And I don't want it to be a completely black box, so I'm picturing giving you like an advisor or somebody that weighs in on the topic and says, hey, you know, if you do that, I'm concerned about this, or we would love this because your neighbor actually needs more corn, or I don't know, something like that, something silly like that. So a way to give you imperfect information, that way you feel less blindsided when you make a choice. And then when you do make a choice, let's say we do the house guard, you know, have some kind of communication of like confirming, thank you, blah, 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 gives us some flavor. And then that would go away. And we would see, yep, I just watched actually the 2 guards head off towards the farm. And now you're updated and you can go on to the next week. So there we are. That is kind of the core gameplay loop that I'm playing around with right now. The framework is what I really focused on this week. The visuals need a little bit of tweaking, but they're functional, which is all I really want for a prototype right now. And I'm really happy about... I think I'm doing a good job of setting up the framework so that I don't have to continually edit the code. Now that I'm kind of getting to the point where I'm ready to just put in the creative content. So what I mean by that is I had all the code that's like determining what to show in those menus and whatnot are all pulling the information from a couple of are pulling the information from completely separate files that just store what the dialogue should be. So for example, if we take a look here I'm just gonna scoot to that prophecy one again. I don't have this hard coded in the same scripts that hold the actual C# coding for what's going on there. I'm storing all this stuff in some JSON scripts, which I realize is not all. To be clear, the JSON files are not the end-all be-all as well, because there's other issues with that where it's a little too human readable, and now the game on the back end is serializing the data on run, and it'd be nice if it was done when I built it so that there's less work that the game has to do when you are playing it. But that, you know, I'm proving that I can start with this and then I can improve it later if I am happy with it. But for example, this is the farm needs help, and if I open this file, whoops, I thought I already had this open, but I did not. So if I open this and I'm gonna try to like display it side by side a little bit, we might be getting a little small on things. But the point is, the JSON is super nice because now I have. What if I pop that? There we go. We're getting there. We can kind of see all the information about what is going to be displayed in here is just in a very simply formatted file. And if I want to change the text of what's going on in this box, or I want to make a completely new item, I just need to, you know, a foreboding prophecy? No, maybe it's a doomsday prophecy now. Great, I did that, and I don't have to worry about did I break any of my code. As long as this file is in the right format, I should be good. And so that'll make it so I'm really hoping that I don't have to keep changing the code as I build the creative aspects of the game or whatnot. When doing like Super Meatball or the skiing game for the dev class, that was what I ran into a lot. When I made a new level, every new level also included a lot of rework and coding and oops, I forgot about this and that and this. So trying to be better about making a flexible foundation that I can just build on top of. That said, is it perfect? No. I realize JSON's not some like monumentally neat, like groundbreaking thing, but just something that I really wanted to focus on myself, because I've never, I could easily have still hard coded it just for a prototype, but for a demo where I want you to still have to go through and make probably somewhere in the realm of 10-15 decisions in the demo, I'm still gonna, this extra effort is gonna save me a lot of time, I think. Couple of other random things that highlight some unexpected problems that came up that I had to encounter. One is with these menus. If we look in the hierarchy over here, where is it? So in our canvas, this menu is in the matter display section. So first thing is, I was calling these events originally, because just in terms of English language, I was like, oh, an event happens, you have to go resolve it. Well, but that overlaps with what events are in C#. So that was getting confusing on the back-end code. So I had to go through and rename everything matters, because that wasn't where that overlapped with, overlapped with actual coding keywords. Same thing happened when I tried to use the word action as what would happen after you picked a choice. Turns out C# has actions as well, so okay, fine. Now they're results, I think. No, what did I call them? Oh, shoot. Oh, I called them steps. That's what I called them. And then locations didn't make sense because they're not, the people assigned to a location aren't really restricted to just a location, and it's more a job to them. So I renamed everything job. So I've already gone through a couple of like learning. Whoops, this was a bad name. Oh, I don't like this, approach I'm taking. So I've done a little bit of that already. And what I had here is this menu used to be just, I would show or hide it depending upon if you were looking at an event. That was nice for working in the editor and things. But then when it came time for the game, I would show it, fill it full of data, I would hide it, and then you would click on a different event and I'd show it again, and it would have all the data from the previous one. So I was writing code to like empty it out and then refill it with the right data, and I was getting mishmash when I would add fields and forget to add them to the code that deleted things. And so it was becoming messy, and so the right thing to do from the get-go there was to just make it so that the objects that are the menus are created and destroyed as needed. So if I would say return later, that menu no longer exists in the hierarchy. And if I click it again, boom, now it does. So I'm creating and destroying the UI menus as I need them. And just making sure that I have prefabs of the different menus. So like the main menu for the matter, looks like this. The little notifications button, very simple. The options menu is a little bit more complex, but so I still have the game objects. I'm just making them on the fly. So that was a pretty important change I had to make just for my own sanity. The other one is, I've been kind of scaling to see how many meeples I want. And yes, I am actually pretty happy with the meeples design. But one thing that's kind of come up, and I'll pause this, is they do kind of group real tightly. Well, kind of show off a little bit here what Unity is able to do. We'll take a look at the nav mesh agent component in the inspector over here. Actually, yeah. I can actually pull it out. No, I can't. Either way. What we can do, and I'm going to move me just a little bit again. Since in order to keep them from getting so close together, this radius kind of defines that like personal space. So it was 0.5, I'm gonna crank it up to 0.75, and then stopping distance is how close they need to be to the target before they consider themselves done navigating where they need to go. So rather than let them congregate all in one spot, we're just gonna double how close, like how much wiggle room until they're like, yes, I made it to where I want to be. So great. Let's see what this looks like. So I go back to my scene, I build, I hit the play. And hopefully we'll kind of see the farmers here. Looks like there's a spot where they gather here, but oh. Yeah, you see they're kind of leaving themselves a little bit more space. It's kind of funny, they still kind of push each other around a little bit, but so I like that. Okay, great. Well, then I was talking with my friend Andrew last night, and now that I made them smaller, it kind of looks like the land looks bigger now. They really run really fast. So let's cut their speed in half. So this is just how fast they run. Went from 10 to 5. And now, let's see if it does the same behavior it did last night. That would be my luck. I'm trying to demonstrate a little bit of a headache thing. And great. They're moving slower now. It looks a little bit more believable, except there's an issue with their animation now. If you're looking, you'll see they used to, as they would run, tilt left, right, left, right. Now they're only going one direction as they run. I'm still not 1,000% sure on what's going on here, but the animation for them, and I know I'm jumping around screens a lot today, but the animation, the way it knows whether it should be hopping or idling is just nothing, is based on these conditions. And so the condition is the meeple's velocity less than 40? Okay, it should go from meeple hop to meeple idle. And then If it's greater than 10, they'll go back from idle to hopping. So this worked pretty well before, but clearly by adjusting the speed of which the navigation engine wants them to move at, now these numbers I picked just out of troubleshooting aren't working. So I'll have, because something's happening to make their animation not play the full animation where they go left, right, and instead just do left, repeat left, repeat left, repeat left. And that is just kind of one little example that I could easily replicate of like, what the heck kind of problems that I've been running into with this game. But yeah, so that's, thought it'd be kind of fun to peel back a little bit of show just how easy Unity does make it sometimes of just being able to tweak things on the fly and really without a lot of work. So you like, what if I fundamentally change how these guys move or function? What does it look like? I said this was going to be a shorter episode. I looked over. I see 21.5 minutes, so I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you guys for all your interest. Let me know if you have any feedback. Hopefully the sound's a little bit better on this one. The first video was a little bit quiet. I'm going to probably put a very nice light background music. Special thanks to everyone that kind of joined the channel recently based on some hype that Sean put out there. So big thanks to him. Also thanks to Mitch and Andrew and Kyle, my buddies that have been kind of doing unofficial stand-ups essentially, where at the end of the day they log in and I'm here just like excited to tell them what I've done today. So big thanks to them, and yeah, I will talk to you guys later and hope you have a good rest of your day.